What if my body is brilliant? If the following questions inspire curiosity, please share this video with others and ask them to join you on your journey of discovery. What if my body is brilliant and everything it does is part of a strategy to survive and thrive? What if every incomprehensibly intricate process my body attempts is simply its best path forward given whatever resources and roadblocks are present at the moment? Given that billions of my cells purposefully die each day to brilliantly allow for constant growth and adaptation, and physical injuries, stress, and exposure to toxins result in additional cellular death, where does all that waste go if I'm not removing it as quickly as I'm producing it? What happens inside my body when it holds too much waste for longer than it should? Does this stagnant swamp of waste damage neighboring healthy tissue, producing a snowball effect of more and more cellular death as waste continues to pile up? What strategies might my body use to get out of this vicious cycle? What if my body recognizes only natural substances and gets confused by synthetic or highly processed things commonly consumed and absorbed, such as artificial flavors and colors, vegetable and seed oils, and microplastics? How does my body deal with these substances when they too are part of the swamp? Given that bacteria in my gut are critically important to the process of breaking down the dead cells of food that I consume, and bacteria have been discovered throughout all parts of a healthy human body, might bacteria also be helpful in breaking down my own dead cell waste as well? What if the concept of good bacteria and bad bacteria is fundamentally wrong? What if all bacteria are simply organisms designed to do one job, eat dead tissue, breaking it into smaller parts which can more readily be eliminated and returned to the earth as part of the circle of life? Given that bacteria produce their own waste in the process of metabolizing dead cells, what if bacteria are only problematic for my body when they produce too much waste as a result of being given a buffet of dead substances to consume? What if bacteria and other microbes are the convenient scapegoat for the true underlying problem, excessive cell death, as caused by a variety of factors? Metaphorically, what if bacteria don't cause the fire, but instead proliferate as nature's attempt to put the fire out? What strategies might my body use to remove the combination of dead cell debris, microbial waste, and synthetic substances if I'm burdened with too many of them all at once? What if I'm not adequately hydrating and my bowel movements are infrequent? What if I'm not exercising enough to sweat out wastes? What are the next steps my brilliant body might take to clean the swamp? What if diarrhea and vomiting are strategies my body uses to remove wastes? What if excessive phlegm and a runny nose is another? What if the symptoms we commonly refer to as being, quote, sick are actually just the necessary steps of healing? What if taking medications designed to end the symptoms of sickness actually prevents my body from healing? What if antibiotics kill my bacteria, which stops them from breaking down unwanted substances, which in turn terminates my natural cleansing process? If my body is unable to remove excess waste via these, albeit unpleasant, symptoms, does it have no choice but to store them deeper? If symptoms aren't the problem, but instead are the solution to something which previously occurred, what if all of modern medicine's efforts are misguided? What if the dramatic increase in chronic ailments over the last century is at least partially due to advancements in suppressing short-term symptoms? If my body is perpetually pushing waste deeper, am I simply trading acute diseases for chronic ones, creating more severe outcomes as I kick the proverbial can further down the road? What if the concept of specific diseases is wrong? What if the root cause of all disease is the same, but the symptoms are different depending on an impossibly nuanced history of the individual? Does this explain how positive results have been observed when treating many types of supposedly distinct diseases with simple water fasting protocols? What if the cure for every disease is simply to remove excess waste and any other impediments, allowing our brilliant bodies to heal naturally? What if that takes drastically longer for some people than others, depending on their unique history and lifestyle habits? With so many variables, how could this idea ever be proven or disproven via clinical trials? What if my mind is the most powerful part of my body and yet another variable? As frequently demonstrated by placebo-controlled studies, thoughts are capable of producing physiological effects. What happens to my body if I'm constantly thinking negative thoughts and harboring unprocessed negative emotions? What if my body is designed to make my actions align with my beliefs? Does this explain how hypochondriacs who believe they will fall victim to disease can experience measurable symptoms? What if I believe that the symptoms I'm suffering from are incurable? Can I actually prevent myself from completing the healing process? Can I only truly be healthy when my mind allows it? By what mechanism does a thought generate a material result? For example, how does the mere observation of a stressful event cause my body to produce a stress hormone? Where do the electrical fields generated by my body fit into this equation? What does the constant bombardment of non-native electromagnetic fields do to my body's natural electrical balance? How does my body react to a full day immersed in, for example, a Wi-Fi network? Can these disharmonious frequencies disrupt my natural processes? Can this be a cofactor in the creation of disease symptoms? Given the complex electrical nature of all living organisms and the evidence that frequency-based communication occurs between cells within my body, might immaterial communication between multiple bodies be possible? Could frequencies coming into harmony with one another explain the phenomenon of menstrual cycle syncing? Shouldn't I expect that many other things are being energetically communicated between living organisms as well? If my body eliminates waste as part of its solution to an underlying problem, and this process resembles a cold or flu, is it possible that I'm capable of energetically communicating this helpful strategy with other people? When they too begin presenting the same detoxification symptoms, wouldn't this appear exactly the same as what we currently call an infectious disease? Is contagion actually just an intelligent communication process leading to mass healing? Because not all people are in need of internal cleanse at the same time, does this explain why syncing frequencies wouldn't necessarily result in spreading the symptoms of disease? Wouldn't this appear exactly the same as our current concept of immunity? Because there are relatively few ways for my body to eliminate waste, can the differences in severity between various respiratory ailments, referred to as colds, flus, bronchitis, pneumonia, etc., be explained simply by differences in the amount of waste needing to be removed and how capable I am at completing this process without complications? Given that virologists have never been able to find supposedly infectious virus particles in fluids taken from an ill person, only showing debris of unknown origin claimed to be viruses at the end stages of a laboratory process involving multiple inputs including toxic substances, is it possible that our current concept of a virus is just a story we never outgrew, originating from an inability to explain the phenomenon of contagion? Given the various experiments from the early 1900s which failed to spread supposedly contagious diseases from one person to another, what if the simple answer to these failures is that they were working with the wrong foundational hypothesis? And because these studies failed at proving their hypothesis, shouldn't alternative hypotheses have been thoroughly investigated over the last 100 years? What if many doctors and scientists over the last century actually have done this work, recognizing the logical errors at the foundation of modern medicine? What if, to the detriment of their careers, they've written many books and papers explaining how humanity has been misled? Would I have heard about these people if my only source of health information came from school textbooks and advertiser-funded news? And even if I had heard of them, would I have dismissed them as quacks because their ideas strayed from the norm? What if the foundational principles of modern medicine have already been proven wrong? Given the trillions of dollars wrapped up in pharmaceuticals, hospital systems, medical research, and insurance conglomerates, would this knowledge be suppressed? Is the entire paradigm too big to fail? Do the economic implications become so overwhelming that many are afraid to even entertain the notion of changing course? What if well-intentioned professionals in various fields of healthcare asked themselves all of these questions? What if they concluded that their careers were based on a series of incorrect assumptions presented as indisputable facts during their formal education and training? Could they overcome this crisis of identity, coupled with the guilt from unwittingly leading patients in the wrong direction for years or decades? Could they brave the financial ramifications of no longer practicing within the same broken system? What if people everywhere, in unison, began to recognize that our bodies are brilliant, that we are in control of our own health and are not relying on man-made inventions to fix supposed shortcomings of nature? Instead, what if we looked at what we ate and drank, and how we talked, thought, and felt? What if we demanded that every dollar currently allocated to disease treatments was instead spent on cleaning our air, soil, and water? What if we focused on removing any impediments standing in the way of how nature intended for our bodies to work? What if we were no longer afraid of symptomatic people, and instead embraced them? What if the only bug we can spread is a communication strategy intended to resolve an underlying issue? What if we said thank you when we began experiencing the symptoms of disease, recognizing them instead as signs of healing? What if my body is brilliant, and yours is too? What would the world look like if we all realized this together?